It's my CD update for January 2024. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to another CD update. I've got a big pile to show. Time to show them. Show you what I've been listening to since the last CD update. So first up, we have the soundtrack to Wonka. Loved the film. You may or may not be aware that the music for the songs were written by Neil Hannon, the lead singer of Divine Comedy, my favourite band. And the score was done by Joby Talbot, who was formerly in the Divine Comedy. Yeah, absolutely loved it. I ordered this through Amazon. It came via America, and it's come on a pressed CDR. So I don't know quite what's going on there. Hello, Willow. Don't know quite what's going on there. Don't think it's a bootleg or anything, but I think some soundtrack companies do just use CDRs nowadays because they're limited pressings. Also, the Divine Comedy website says this is getting a vinyl release this year, so I will get it on vinyl when it comes out anyway. But yeah, excellent soundtrack. This was charity shop pickup, 25p in scope in Gosport. This is a compilation in aid of Childline, which is a charity in the UK for children who are having some sort of difficulty, any sort of difficulty. It's a free phone number they can ring to speak to somebody. And this was a release from 1996. As you can see, the cover is a takeoff of Pulp's Different Class album. It's a nice little compilation of rare and previously unreleased tracks by a number of artists. U2 and Michael Stipe doing One as Automatic Baby. Paul Weller, Feeling Alright. Ocean Colour Scene, Huckleberry Grove. Alicia Zatic, Still Life. Ash, Punk Boy. Manson, Ski Jump Nose, Cliff Noel Mix. Sway, Lazy Original Demo. Pulp, Whiskey in the Jar. Cast, Better Man. Lighthouse Family, Ocean Drive, VH1 Acoustic Mix. Menswear, Can't Smile Without You. Salad, Backstreet Love. These Animal Men, Richard R. Lineman. Booth and the Bad Angel, Dance of a Bad Angel Archive Mix. Tricky Chaos, Bjork, Possibly Maybe, LFO Lucy Mix. E17 Looking for Biff Mix, and Boyzone Your Song, which actually I only detected Ronan Keating's vocals on. But yeah, nice little compilation, well worth 25p. So you may have seen I had some VCLT from Michael, and that included some CDs. I've listened to them all now. One of them was The Great Rock and Roll Swindle by the Sex Pistols. It's sort of a mixed album. It's, doesn't compare to Nevermind the Bollocks, but there's enough decent stuff on there that it's worth listening to. Also Sex Pistols, this is Some Product, Carry On. This is basically a load of interviews, radio guest appearances, etc. by the Sex Pistols, sort of mixed together into a sort of sound collage at some points, and sometimes it's just a straight recording of said interviews or appearances. It's not something that's I'm going to regularly listen to at all. It was humorous in places. It was frustrating in places about how childish and immature they could be, but interesting. This is also, unless I tell you otherwise, the next few bits are from Michael. This is a Julio Iglesias CD single, Caballero Viejo and Bamboleo. It's a sort of a medley of the tracks. Bamboleo, you would know, it's Bamboleo, that track, with a couple of other tracks on. It's fine. Johnny Hates Jazz, Turn the Tide. This is a signed copy. Little 3-inch CD single. Decent enough track, nothing spectacular. This was more from Michael to come. This was a Christmas present from my mum's boyfriend. This is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Hexagonal Phase. So this is based on Ewan Colfer's and Another Thing, which was the continuation 6th Hitchhiker's novel. I already had this on vinyl, but I had everything else in a CD box set apart from this. I wanted this to complete the collection on CD as well. Perfectly enjoyable. It's not quite up there with Douglas Adams' work, but then again, Hitchhiker sort of peaked after second or third part anyway. But yeah, perfectly enjoyable. And some guest appearances by Lenny Henry and Ed Byrne, which keep things interesting. Back to the bits from Michael. Michael and Mechanics Hits is what it says on the tin. Enjoyed a lot of it. A lot of it I was indifferent to, but didn't dislike any of it. Paul Young CD single, It Will Be You, with a couple of acoustic versions of tracks on there. I could tell why it wasn't a big hit, but it was a perfectly respectable Paul Young song. I like Paul Young's voice. I like him. It was fine. So this is a radio promo of You Surround Me by Erasure. What's interesting is the case and the artwork, apart from the sticker, is the same as the general release, and that release included a third track called Supernature, but that isn't on this radio promo. Just, you know, bit of a strange anomaly. But yeah, I like Erasure. Decent enough track. The 91 Steps is just an instrumental. It didn't do much for me. Aztec Camera. Working in a Gold Mine. Another 3-inch single in an adapter. 4 different tracks on this one. Again, perfectly decent. You could tell why it wasn't a big hit, but perfectly decent Aztec Camera track. This I already had, but Michael sent me this as well, so I listened to this copy. This is Prince's I Hate You, from when he went by the symbol. It's wonderful, magnificent, basically. 5 different versions of I Hate You. 7-inch edit without guitar, the album edit, Quiet Night mix by Eric Lees, the extended remix, and the album version. The extended remix is what makes this special. This is the Blu-ray audio file version of Diamonds and Pearls. So if you watched my unboxing of the Diamonds and Pearls releases, I mentioned that this was also coming, but it had been delayed and was coming the following month. This is amazing. So it's in Dolby Atmos. I don't have a Dolby Atmos system, but it mixes it down to DTS 5.1 if you haven't got Atmos. And I waited till I was home alone. I cranked it up, and they'd done just some brilliant stuff with it. It was in many places like listening to the album for the first time, which, considering I've been listening to this album a lot in the last 32 years, says a lot. I found some bits interesting in what they decided to prioritise in the mix. You know, there was bits where in the normal stereo version of this album, there's dominant keyboard parts or guitar parts or something, and they're mixed right down in this, which is interesting, and it makes you hear other things. There's some vocals on this, on Live for Love, that I'd never noticed before, and even re-listening to the stereo version after this, still didn't notice these vocals. It's a, really fascinating, amazing listen. This was also from Michael. Diamonds and Pearls I bought from my local record shop. So this is Eurythmics' I Need a Man. 5-inch CD single in a tin. I'm not a Eurythmics fan, as I mentioned when I did the unboxing. This song's alright. It's, you know, there's some of their songs I don't mind. It's more I have issues with Annie Lennox, basically. Yeah, it's an alright track, and the bonus tracks were alright, but it didn't do much for me, really. This was a freebie. It was a little sampler CD that Slice of Vinyl, my local record shop, got in. So I picked up a copy. So it's from a Native Rebel Recordings label. That's what's on it. It was all perfectly enjoyable. Some of it I quite liked. Some of it I was indifferent to, but nothing that I didn't like. Quite jazzy in parts. This is Take That's new album, This Life. Interesting album. It's a bit of a departure for them. It's a bit more Americana type rock, pop rock. Less, you know, boy bandy poppy stuff from all their other albums. You know, I've got all, he says, there might be one or two I'm missing, but I'll say I've got all their albums. The first track that came out from this was a track called Windows, which I know some people absolutely loved. Never did anything for me. But then they released the title track, This Life, which I absolutely adored. Unfortunately, the album as a whole is a bit more like Windows than it is This Life. So it sort of just washed over me. Didn't wow me. This is a CD box set released towards the end of the year. Dire Straits Live 1978 to 1992. So a nice little box set. A little clamshell. Booklet with a bit of writing about them live, and particularly the albums in here. And then credits and what have you at the back. Then there's some art cards which are fairly pointless because they're just the album sleeves. But they seem to like in the Mark Knopfler vinyl box sets, which are there. They've done the same. They've got art prints there with all the album sleeves. I don't really get it myself, but fair enough. So what's interesting about this, apart from the fact there's a complete unreleased concert in here, is that they've remastered and expanded the previously released albums. So Alchemy has got 4 or 5 tracks on here that weren't on the original release. On the Night has similarly got, again, 5, 6 I think it is, tracks that weren't on the original release. Then we've got the Encore CD, which is as released, but it's the new remaster. They released this on vinyl for Record Store Day 2 or 3 years ago, and it's that remaster. Live at BBC is the same as the previously released version. And then this is a previously unreleased concert from a Rainbow in 1979. Which is interesting because it's post-communique, but there's a couple of Making Movies tracks that they debut on here. And then at the end, Phil Lynott and Tony Demure, however you say his surname, guest on 4 rock and roll classics. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Sort of, you know, listening to the previously released albums with the added tracks made them flow differently, which was kept them interesting. I have got the vinyl version on my wish list as well. This I bought from Rocket Pool, shop I've mentioned before. They're based in Poole in Dorset, and they specialise in Prince merchandise. And they advertised this, and I needed this. I probably could have found it cheaper on Discogs, but what the hell. This is Get Wild, the maxi singles. So this is New Power Generation release. New Power Generation in this iteration, but just basically being Prince and his band. This was around the same time as the name change and the Slave era, and he for this album, which is The Exodus Has Begun, or Exodus. He appeared as Tora Tora. He wrapped himself in a scarf so you couldn't see his face. And yeah, he was known as Tora Tora for that. But anyway, so I have a normal CD single of Get Wild, and I have a 12-inch of it. But I didn't have this maxi single, which has got 5 different mixes. 6 different mixes. Moneymaker, Kirky J's Get Wild mix, Club mix, Get Wild in My House, Get Wild, and Moneymaker Funky Jazz mix. So I wanted that to get me remixes. I love this track. This is a CD single of Now and Then by the Beatles, obviously. I'm sure you're all aware of it. Love Me Do on the B-side. I wanted this on CD, so bought the CD single, basically. It's, you know, the more I hear it, the more I like it. This is Matt Berry's latest album. This is KPM music tribute called Simplicity. So these are instrumental largely. There's a little bit of vocal on there, but not by Matt. He says, what was there? No, I don't think there is any vocal actually. I think I'm imagining that. But yeah, it's a tribute to KPM, which was a library music label. And they're all tracks that sort of could be used as theme tunes and, you know, library music basically. Very enjoyable. These are Count Arthur Strong's radio Christmas specials from 2016. Finally got a CD release. Bought through his website. Excellent, very funny stuff. This was a gift. When I went to Cardiff, I picked up a load of DVDs, Blu-rays. DVD, there might have been no, I think there was a Blu-ray or two. From my good friend Craig Huntley. And this was shortly before I saw him, he'd off of Facebook picked up a bag of DVDs and Blu-rays free of charge from somebody fairly local to him, and this was in it. Unfortunately, it was sort of a mixed blessing because a lot of these DVDs and Blu-rays were missing discs, or, you know, either completely or they had one disc but not the other, and, you know, box sets missing a disc and things like that. And similarly, this version of Ben Folds Sings for Silverman, it's got the CD but it hasn't got the DVD that's meant to be in there, which obviously didn't bother me at all. Very enjoyable. This is only the second Ben Folds album I've heard, but I like it a lot. This I bought in Cardiff at Kelly's Records. This is the 3-inch CD single for Prince's I Wish You Heaven, which has got the I Wish You Heaven parts 1, 2 and 3, and then uncredited on the sleeve, but it is on there. It's got Brain Gear. It's got the standard B-side, which was no, my brain has gone dead. I'll put it on the screen. But it is on here. But yeah, again, have on 12-inch. Have on bootleg CD, in fact. But nice to have the actual CD single. Great remix. It's a brilliant remix. This I also bought in Cardiff. This was in Divinyl, in Macintosh Place. And this is the promo, one-track promo for Prince's Cinnamon Girl from the Musicology album. It's, you know, just nice to have in the collection. It is the track Cinnamon Girl, which is a great track. This is the 2 CD release of Diamonds and Pearls, bought from Slice of Vinyl, my local record shop. So this has got the remix of this new, remastered remix type thing of remastered rather than remixed of Diamonds and Pearls on CD 1, and CD 2 is the single mixes and edits remastered. So that's all the single edits, some of their remixes from the maxi singles, the exclusive B-sides, and also the Get Off damn near 10-minute mix. I have all this in the big CD box set, which reminds me I need to show that as well and talk about that. So let's grab that while I'm thinking about it. But for I bought every format of this release, as you will see in a second. This is a new box set, Bucks Fizz for Land of Make Believe, a definitive collection. So this was a release through Cherry Pop. It was fairly cheap, so I bought it. But there's sort of a lot in here that I didn't really need. So disc 1 is all the singles, 20 tracks. Disc 2 is 19 B-sides, which are interesting, and I'm happy to have them. Disc 3 is the original extended mixes, which is 12 different extended mixes from around the time of releases of these singles, some of which are interesting, some of which aren't particularly essential. Disc 4 is instrumentals and backing tracks. That I could do without. It's basically just karaoke versions of the 20 singles. And Disc 5 are the unreleased extended mixes, which are 11 of the tracks, previously unreleased mixes, again, some of which are interesting, some of which aren't. So it's only really the first 2 discs that I really appreciated, but it was, it was a price I would happily pay for a 2-disc set anyway. So I grabbed that. This is the standard 1 CD release of a remastered Diamonds and Pearls, so this is just the remastered album. Taylor Swift's version of 1989. It's an album that I really like anyway. I have reviewed the original album on this channel back when I was doing album reviews. It's, not like most of these. It's not overly different. Her voice hasn't changed that much. The tracks are still pretty much the same tracks, just re-recorded so that she's getting the money for them rather than the management company she doesn't like. But very good. This is the new solo album by Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses called Lighthouse. I primarily bought this because it was a signed copy through Amazon. It was a bit of a strange signed copy because what it actually comes with is a signed certificate of authenticity. This card certifies the authenticity of this limited album edition. But it's nice to have Duff's signature. But yeah, a strange release. The album was fine, nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. I bought the new release of Danny Minogue's classic 1998 album Girl, which I absolutely adore. This album, so I bought the vinyl and then bought this 4 CD box set. So CD 1 is the album complete with a couple of bonus mixes at the end. CD 2 is 10 remixes of All I Want to Do. CD 3 is remixes of Everything I Wanted and Heaven Can Wait. And CD 4 is remixes of Disremembrance. A lot of those I already have because I did buy the CD singles back when they came out. Nice booklet, lots of information, lots of pictures, etc. And the album itself comes in a little cardboard gatefold. Then the rest of them, you can see the spot gloss with a little fish theme. But what's quite nice is that I've got the original artwork for one of the CD singles inside, because all of them came on multiple CD singles. So same for Everything I Wanted. And same for Disremembrance. But that's a nice touch. And then if you ordered this directly through Cherry Red, do I want to say? Yeah, through Cherry Red Records, who released it. You also got a bonus CD single with 10 remixes of the 2020 version of All I Want to Do, which again has got the printed inner. So it was re-released in 2020 during lockdown. It was All I Want to Do, seemed appropriate, and with various mixes, and they're on there, some of which previously unreleased. This is a box set commemorating 20 years of Permission to Land, the Darkness's debut album. So this is the 4 CD, what do they call it? Super Deluxe set. It's 4 CD and a DVD. So CD 1 is the original album plus six demos. CD 2 is singles, B-sides and non-album tracks. So that's 17 tracks there. CD 3 is live at Nebworth 2003, 7 tracks from when they supported Robbie Williams at Nebworth, from the day I was actually at. And live at the Astoria 2003, so that's another 9 tracks. And then CD 4 is live at Wembley in 2004, 17 tracks there. And then the DVD, which I haven't watched yet, having now shown this will go in my to-watch pile for my DVDs and Blu-rays. It's got all the promo videos, some EPK stuff and outtakes and things like that, and then the live at Nebworth stuff visually and the live at the Astoria stuff visually. But very good release, good book as well in it, lots to read. Yeah, very good release, highly recommend if you like the darkness. This is Kylie's Tension. I showed this, or a version of this, in my last sorry, I'm just trying to work out what's happened here. CD update, and talked about the album then. I've listened to it a few more times since because I've been listening through the vinyl. It's definitely growing on me, but this was the version HMV, I think it was. Yeah, HMV with a signed card. I just noticed the card seems a bit scuffed and what have you, but it's just been sat inside there, so I don't know why. Cheap printing, probably. And finally, no, not finally, penultimately, Joni Mitchell, the third of the Archives releases. This is the Asylum years 1972 to 1975, 5 CD set. Matches exactly the first two. So you've got a little fold-out thing, booklet in the front. So the book is an interview, done a modern interview between Joni and Cameron Crowe, talking about this period, and then the 5 CDs. As with all of them, in a mixture of demos, unreleased studio recordings and live recordings from this era. So this is For the Roses, Court and Spark, and Hissing of Summer Lawns eras. But yeah, lots of really interesting stuff on there. And then finally is the Super Deluxe Diamonds and Pearls set, CD version, 7 CDs and a Blu-ray. The booklet is great. I say booklet, the book rather, is great. Interesting read. And then I'll go through the CDs quickly. So, CD 1 is just a remastered album, same as already shown. So a great remaster, but it was already a good sounding album anyway, so it hasn't added much. Single mixes and edits, so this is same as CD 2 of the 2 CD set I showed. So again, personally, I'd preferred that they stuck another disc in and had all the bits from the maxi singles on there rather than just picking and choosing bits. As a completist, although I've got them, but as a completist it would have been nice to have everything in one place, but I can see why they just cherry picked. Then we get onto the Vault CDs. Bear in mind I've only listened to these once. I'm gradually getting to the vinyl versions to listen to the Vault stuff again. It's not the, compared to Purple Rain Super Deluxe, Sign of the Time Super Deluxe, 1999 Super Deluxe, it's not the best sort of period for outtakes. I think it was just... I don't think it was his most prolific period, in as much as he wasn't constantly recording as much as he used to, largely because he was on the road for a lot of it, so he wasn't sat in the studio at Paisley Park. So there's a lot of alternate versions of the album tracks on these. There's a lot of tracks that were given to other artists, but these are Prince's versions of. But there's still some interesting bits in there. Some of which also I was already familiar with from bootlegs, which obviously always makes them a bit less special, but that's not their fault. That's my fault for buying bootlegs. But yeah, as I say, some interesting stuff. Skip to My You, My Darling. I liked. Dark Side was interesting. The tracks with Rosie Gaines on this one are interesting. On the second one, The Last Dance, Pang Pao Zoom and the whole nine, that was interesting. Again, it's just, tracks that I was already familiar with in one way or another, so they didn't... Although it's interesting to see what changed, between the earlier versions and the finished versions. They're not quite as exciting as brand new tracks you've never heard before. Alice Through the Looking Glass. I Pledge Allegiance to Your Love. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad on any of these, but it's just they weren't quite as exciting as some of the other Super Deluxe releases. What was exciting, but was the live release in here, which is spread over 2 discs. That's live at Glam Slam 92. So this was basically a warm-up concert before they went on tour. So it's largely the Diamonds and Pearls tour set. Some discrepancies, but done in a small club, Prince's Glam Slam in Minneapolis. But yeah, really exciting, vibrant performances. Sacrifice of Victor's on there, which wasn't in the main set for a start, and some of the tracks drifted in and out of the main set. But yeah, really exciting gig, really fun. My complaint is, as I mentioned when I did the unboxing, is that on the previous releases, the audio concert has been a different concert to the video concert. But unfortunately, for some reason, for this release, it's the same release on the Blu-ray. So that sort of takes the, edge of being able to compare different performances or whatever. It's exactly the same thing. But that said, it's a great Blu-ray. It looks really good. It sounds really good. And it is really exciting live performance. It does also have on here the Special Olympics performance plus a sound check from when Prince and the MPG performed at the Special Olympics in 1991, which is, again, nice to have and watch. And then it's also got the Diamonds and Pearls video collection, which is nice to have on Blu-ray, having got it on VHS and DVD. They've remastered the videos that appear, the Get Off video, the Cream video, etc., etc. But the bits in between are still as they were on the VHS release. But it's nice to have, basically. It's, again, it's nothing new and exciting, but it's nice to have. So, it sounds like I'm fairly down on this release. I'm not. It's a magnificent release. It's just we've been spoilt with previous releases. And that's it. That's all the CDs I have listened to since the last CD update. I've just started my Christmas box set, so I started with Kirsty MacColl one today. And then when that's done, I'll move on to the Guns N' Roses one. And Black Grape's new album came on CD yesterday, so that'll be after that. So it's a little teaser as to what will be on the next CD update, whenever that may be. But thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks.